Welcome, everybody. Sorry about the additional music there. Welcome, everybody, to our monthly Chocolatey Product Spotlight live stream for August 2024. So, as everybody really loved and really enjoyed the Back to Basics series, we're going back to basics again. This time, we're going to look at what is Chocolatey Central Management. So, if you're a licensed customer or you're thinking about becoming a licensed customer, Chocolatey Central Management is one of those products that is part of the Chocolatey for Business suite. And today, we're going to have a look at that and give you some more information, like to see how it works, and just go back to basics about how everything functions in Chocolatey Central Management. As a reminder, we run two live streams every month on the first and third Thursday. This live stream is where we spotlight Chocolatey products, important features, and both recent and upcoming releases. Our other live stream on the third Thursday of each month is called Unpacking Software, and that includes news, chat, and opinion, and a little bit of moaning from me complaining and old man complaining about things on the world of software and software management and anything else I care to complain about. You can watch us live or catch up later with the podcast for that one as well, because we do it as a podcast too. And details for all of that are actually in the description. You can also be notified of all of our Chocolatey content by joining our community hub on Discord and subscribing to us on YouTube and clicking on the notification bell. If you do that, you'll be notified when we actually stream. And you can also follow us on Twitter or X, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitch. We're on all the things, and you can find those links at the bottom of our homepage, chocolatey.org. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll find those links there, or in the description of wherever you found this video. We want to make sure as well that the content that we're streaming here today is what you actually want to see. And I'm going to pop a quick link on the screen. It'll also be in the not the chat, in the description as well. If someone could pop it into the chat, that'd be really great. And if you can take 10 seconds, that's all it really takes. I think it's 3 questions we've got on there, and only one of them is mandatory. Just 10 seconds. We'd really appreciate you completing it at the end of the stream today, just to tell us what you think and perhaps give us some more information about what you want to see. And as I said, you can find that link in the description. It's on screen there, and I will pop it in the chat if someone else hasn't by the time I've finished here just now. So my name is Paul Broadwith, and I'm a technical engineering manager here at Chocolatey Software. I lead the engineering team that's responsible for the products we'll be talking about today, so Chocolatey Central Management in this case. My co-host and the master of demos today is actually Chris White. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Paul. My name is Chris White. I am a support engineer here at Chocolatey Software. I spend a fair amount of time within Chocolatey Central Management, but there are a lot of settings in here that we offer that I have no need to mess with. So I'm going to do my best to give you a demo of what we have today.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, Chris. If you've got any questions for myself or Chris today, please pop them into the chat. You'll see that if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Twitch, you'll be able to see the chat there. I will disappear shortly and leave Chris to it, and I will keep an eye on the chat and pop in occasionally and maybe bring some chat onto the screen, and we can look at those questions as well. But Chris, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Paul. All right, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, my name is Chris White. I'm a support engineer. I do get to spend quite a bit of time in Chocolatey Central Management as a support engineer, testing things, doing issue replication for customers. So I do have a fair bit of knowledge, but as this is a back to basic stream, I should be good enough to handle this for everyone. So first off, the question, what is Chocolatey Central Management? Chocolatey Central Management is a single pane of glass from which an organization can manage the Chocolatey packages installed across all of their clients. It provides visibility when those clients check in with Central Management to report currently installed Chocolatey packages and whether any of those packages are outdated. And it gives that organization full control from a single seat to be able to install, upgrade, or uninstall Chocolatey packages throughout the environment. We don't have sort of a hard and fast set of rules as far as hardware requirements go for CCM, but we do have recommendations for our quick start environment for Chocolatey for Business, and those will definitely handle Chocolatey Central Management as it's part of that environment when it gets deployed. Those requirements are Windows Server 2019 or greater, ideally Windows Server 2022. 4 or more CPU cores, and 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can go more, always more power, always better. 8 gigabytes is a bare minimum. That's what I run in my test environment, and trust me, I feel it. Um, Following the guidelines there, we've seen Chocolatey Central Management handle approximately 1,000 clients. So for smaller organizations, it scales really well. And for larger organizations, you can always reach out to the support team. We'll be happy to assist with any questions you may have regarding your setup. Now that I've given you kind of an idea of the hardware that you'll need for Chocolatey Central Management, you'll also need a few things to get started before you jump in to CCM headfirst. You will need Chocolatey for Business, which means you've purchased a business level license. You'll need the Chocolatey package, of course, which we talked about in our third Back to Basics live stream that you can watch on our YouTube channel. You'll need the Chocolatey licensed extension, which is also known as the Chocolatey.extension package. We haven't covered that in a Back to Basics stream yet, but without diving too deep, the Chocolatey license extension is the switch that flips all of the professional or business level features on in your Chocolatey environment. You can check that out at docs.chocolatey.org/en-us/features. That'll give you a list of the available features for the free open source version of Chocolatey, for Pro and for Chocolatey for Business. So once you have the groundwork for your Chocolatey for Business environment, you'll then need to install the CCM packages themselves. Those are the essential components for Chocolatey Central Management. Those packages are the database package known as Chocolatey-management-database, which uses a Microsoft SQL Server or SQL Server Express. The service package called Chocolatey-management-service, which is a .NET Kestrel service used to communicate with the Chocolatey agent. And the website package called Chocolatey-management-web. This provides the web interface that we're looking at now, which requires Internet Information Services or IIS. So looking at the dashboard, the main page has several tiles. The first of which being total installed packages. That's all the installed packages across all client computers that check in to CCM with the Chocolatey agent. We have talked about the Chocolatey agent before, among other things, in our fourth Back to Basics live stream. So I won't go in depth about it, but that's also on our YouTube channel if you're interested. You can also see the total outdated packages installed on all machines, as well as the total unique numbers. You can also get information about your total draft and ready deployments, your active deployments, and total stale computers, which we'll discuss later on in the live stream once we get a little further into the Chocolatey Central Management settings. One of the things that I really, really like about CCM, and it's a wonderful thing that our development team has included within a great deal of the CCM interface, is these helpful tooltips. That when you hover over, they'll give you a little bit more explanation of what's going on. We also have some informational pop-ups that'll let you know what needs to be done before moving on to the next step when you're, say, setting up a deployment. We want our customers to succeed while working with central management, so we bake a lot of helpful tidbits directly into the interface for you. So I'm going to skip around a little bit in the left-hand menu here. Normally when we do a demo for CCM, it's a little easier to kind of start from the ground up with everything that you're going to build on. So the first thing we're going to do is hop into the computer section. So inside the computer interface, you'll see a list of all the computers that have checked into Chocolatey Central Management. I currently only have one here. It's the server itself. You can see that managed count here. That will give you a clue as to how many licenses, how many nodes you've used, how many machines you currently have checking in, how many you have left before you need to expand that license, all that good stuff. What's important here is that any computer can be a client as long as it can reach the server on which Chocolatey Central Management resides. Server, personal computer, bare metal box, virtual machine, doesn't matter. All the machine needs is a Chocolatey for Business license, the Chocolatey CLI package, the Chocolatey license extension, and the Chocolatey agent. And there are some additional configurations so that the Chocolate agent will be able to communicate with the CCM service and CCM as a whole, and then you're good to go there. The additional configurations needed to get the server and the clients communicating can be found at docs.chocolatey.org/en-us/configuration. So the interface here lists the computer itself, friendly name if that's been set. That's entirely optional. The IP address, the last time it checked into central management, and any groups that the computer is in for Chocolatey Central Management deployments. You can drill in specifically to a computer for a more complete view of each machine. All the groups that the computer belongs to will be here. All of the software that is installed via Chocolatey package will be listed here as well. It is an important distinction to say that as a package manager, we manage Chocolatey packages. So any package, any Chocolatey package that is installed on the machine will be reported into CCM. Any additional software that's been installed outside of a Chocolatey process, what are you doing? Use a Chocolatey package. So if we skip out of computers and then head into groups, groups are used to delegate which machines get CCM deployments. The groups interface will list any groups by name and descriptions added to them. The descriptions are optional, of course. Groups are quite powerful because not only can a group be comprised of individual machines, technically, this is an automatic group that we create for you, and the only machine in it now is the Choco server. Now, any computer that checks into CCM will get added to this group. And you can create groups for individual machines if you have a machine that's, off to the side, not really getting any love anymore. If you want to have a deployment specifically for that machine, you can do that. The powerful part that I was talking about is not only can you do that for individual machines, but you can also deploy to groups as well. So if you have a group of 20 machines for your accounting department, a group of 20 machines for your development department, a group of 20 machines for your HR department, you don't have to go in and list each individual machine. You just grab those 3 groups, chuck them in another group, and boom, you've now got a deployment for 60 machines. And that scales to whatever, however many machines you've got. So much like drilling into computers, you'll get all of these extra details as you drill into each group. It will tell you if the group is available for a deployment based on the license count. It will also tell you if it's based on the Chocolatey configuration. One of the cool things about how we configure Chocolatey is you can set it up so that a machine will check into central management, but it won't get any deployments. So those are 2 separate configuration values that you can set in case you want to be able to see all of the information. Apologies, my headset just shut off on me. Unless you want to be able to see all of the information coming in, but you don't want deployments going out to that machine. Since we have spent so much time now talking about deployments, let's talk about deployment plans. There are 2 main building blocks for deployment plans. Those are deployment steps and deployment plans themselves. The difference between them is a deployment step is a single piece that provides the ability to install, upgrade, uninstall a Chocolatey package in a basic deployment, or run remote PowerShell scripts in an advanced deployment. A deployment plan is either a single deployment step or multiple deployment steps that'll cover the tasks you set out to accomplish. Deployment plans interface gives you a quick look at the deployment plans that are in the draft status, plans that have been scheduled or moved to ready, plans that are actively running, and any plans that have completed, along with 5 status categories for those that completion. Success is, obviously everything went great. Huzzah. Failed. Obviously everything did not go great. Boo. The log will tell you what's going on there, why it failed. Unreachable means that the Chocolatey agent did not receive the deployment within the machine contact timeout. Machine contact timeout is something that you can set within a deployment step, and I'll show you that when we move to setting up a deployment. Inconclusive could mean that there was no valid exit code to report success or failure. It's also likely that communication on the way back from the agent was interrupted in some way. And canceled is you canceled the deployment. Something didn't want it to run, didn't need to run. That's however you wanted to do it. So at the top right of this interface, well, it's normally the top right when you don't have your resolution blown out to proportions. But at the top right of the interface, we have options for the deployment plans. You can import one. We do have some examples for deployments that you can import at in our central management docs. It's docs.chocolatey.org /en-us/central-management/usage/examples/deployment-plans. I know that's huge. If somebody would please drop that in the chat, I would appreciate it. But they're really cool, and it'll show you some good stuff that you can do with deployments. You can also view any archived deployment plans that you have. Um, Anything that's already run that ran, back in the day. If you archive it, it will get moved there. But we're more interested in creating a deployment plan off the cuff. So let's get into that. So I choose create a deployment plan. It drops me directly into the edit deployment plan interface. And the first thing we'll do is we'll name the deployment plan. So we will name this upgrade chocolatey. That's a pretty easy name. After that, we'll add a deployment step. Once again, this helpful tooltip here for the global execution timeout. You'll see that this is set in seconds. That's 4 hours. I know because I had to do the math this morning. So the global execution timeout, that is how long the deployment will go for before it just says, hey, we're not doing this anymore. You can set it to whatever you want. You can also set this global for the entire deployment, or you can set it per step. And if we go into the deployment step and go down to the advanced filters, you can see that you can set this per step. You can also set valid exit codes for each step. This machine contact timeout is what I was referring to earlier, where if a machine is unreachable, this machine contact timeout might be a little too low. I know 0 looks low. 0 is technically infinite when this in this interface, so that will just run until everything gets got or it's just not there anymore. So for a basic deployment, it's very easy, very kind of just back to basics. You can choose a command with the drop down. You can either install, upgrade, or uninstall. We're going to choose upgrade. Then you just type the name of the package. Our package is chocolatey. I want the latest version, so I'm just going to leave that blank. You can specify a version if you want. You can also tick this box and specify a pre-release package if you'd like. You can name the deployment step. And then as we go back up to the top here, all of this information for the deployment steps, good to go. You can click here to select target groups. You can go back up to the tab. So my target group is the only group I've got. So I'm going to add that. This legend here will also tell you, it will highlight if there is a computer within a group that is either exceeds your license count or is not opted in for deployments. And it will differentiate and tell you which one is which. You can switch back and forth here as well between the deployment step. Before I save this and confirm it, I'm going to go ahead and show you an advanced deployment as well. So an advanced deployment can be literally any PowerShell that you want to run through the deployment. Um, for instance, if you created a new repository and you needed to push that out to all of your endpoints, you could run Choco source add the name of the repository. Oop. It helps not to fat finger things. The source for the repository, which would be the repo URL. Um, if there's any authentication, anything that you want to set for it, allow self-service, admin only. One of the cool things about deployments that I want to show you now is the need for authentication. If you have a username specifically for this source, you can pass that as username, and then when you pass the password, you can choose a sensitive variable if you've had it previously set up, and it'll drop that information directly into the deployment for you. So it's not logged and it doesn't show up in the output. We have some tips at the bottom of our advanced deployments. We always suggest that you start off with error action preference equals stop. A couple of tips for specific exit codes if you want to pass them. All of the additional advanced filters are available for an advanced deployment as well. But we don't need we don't need to add this. So we're just going to go back to our basic deployment. Everything looks good there. I'm happy with everything. We still have our target group selected. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to click save again because I'm an old school video gamer and I save manually as often as possible. And then we'll return to the deployment plan. And we can see that it is now in the draft. So from here, you can edit it. You can move it to ready, duplicate the deployment if you need to, delete it, or export the deployment so that you can then build a template from it or review it for changes. So what we can do is we can move this to ready. Nice, helpful pop-up from our development team saying, are you sure you want to do this? Now, once it's in ready, we can go ahead and choose to run it now. And from here, you can also edit it. Once you edit it, if you, for instance, need to go back in and say, I need this to happen, but I need to add a schedule to it because it can't happen now. The cool thing is once you add a schedule, if you don't put anything else in it, the start date, it will be at least 30 minutes from the current time. So that'll give all of your clients an opportunity to check back in to Chocolatey Central Management to see if there are any deployments waiting so that then they can grab it as needed.
I think Chris is having technical issues with his
Okay,
headset.
you all can hear me now. So I'm going to use my microphone on my webcam, and I'm just going to every so often turn these back on as I'm having trouble with my headset. Apologies once again. Um, so when setting a deployment schedule, as I said, it'll be 30 minutes from the current time, or you can choose a time and a date. So I'm just going to push this out to August 8th because I'm not actually going to run this anyway. But once I've got that schedule set, I can restrict it to a maintenance window if I want and say yes. So let's say, sure, 4 hours, that works. So it'll now run the 8th of August between 12:55 and 4:55 local time. You can also set in the settings, and I'll go over this a little later. You can also set your CCM to your local time zone. If for some reason your local time zone is not listed in the list, let us know and we'll see if we can add it. We've had that happen before, oddly enough. So you also get a repeat period. You can repeat it daily, weekly, every 2 weeks. I'm just going to set this as weekly and save everything. Then head back. Drop this back into Move to Ready. And now it will pick up at that schedule. Here's the thing. We have created this deployment. It will run, it will do what we need it to do. That deployment is currently targeting only this machine because this is the only machine that I have checking in. But let's say you want to target a specific package across all of your endpoints. This is one of the cool new features that we've added recently. You can go to the software tab, and the software tab will list all of the Chocolatey packages that are currently installed across all of your clients. Once you see that there is a specific package, let's take Chocolatey for instance, there's a specific package here that you need to get upgraded, you can click the Actions button and then choose to upgrade or uninstall that package. So I'm going to generate a deployment directly from the software tab specifically for that package. And as I click yes, and it drops me into the edit deployment plan, it names the deployment for me, gives me a step that I need. I can then add a schedule if I need to. I can edit the plan for anything that I need to do. Any additional advanced filters that I want to do. The target group is a temporary group that is built by Chocolatey Central Management in order to target every single client that is at that version of Chocolatey or whatever package you're using. So that's essentially one step, one deployment to target every single package directly from the software tab when you take a look at what's going on inside your tenant. So the cool thing about the software tab, you can also create a new deployment plan directly from here. And drilling in will give you information about the package version, whether or not it's outdated, the number of installations you have. It will also tell you which computers the software is installed on, which is extremely slick, and you can get into here and see everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to, so you can see we've got the deployment that we built from the ground up from deployments, and we have the deployment that we built from the software tab. So what I'm going to do is I don't want this deployment, so I'm going to delete it. But I do want this deployment. So I'm going to move that to ready, and I want it to run now. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. So as I kick it off, it drops into active deployments. You can check the details. You'll get to see deployment plan progress. There's one active deployment, one machine ready for this deployment that's currently active. As that is running, I'm going to hop into another interface so that we can continue on. Our next interface is the reports interface. We do have 2 reports currently for Chocolatey Central Management, outdated software, which you can see I've already run one. You can create an outdated software report just by clicking the button there, and then you can view it. The two reports that we have, the outdated software and the deployment plans, those two reports were the ones that were most often requested by our customers. And so those were the first two that we implemented. Our goal is to increase this over time with reports that our customers want to see as they discover more information that they'd like to see tracked, as well as anything that we deem would be beneficial as it applies to new features and functionality within CCM. You can export any of the reports via PDF or Excel. You can also just view it in the web interface itself, get an idea of any of the outdated software that you have listed for any machine that is currently checking in. So the administration tab is where it gets really cool with being able to set things up, being able to sort of decide how you want your instance of CCM to operate or look. So the first level is roles. Roles are how you decide which users you have in CCM get to do what things. Within the CCM, I'm logged in currently as the CCM admin. Within the CCM admin role, I can edit role properties, just whatever you want to call it. But then you can check the permissions. And permissions is how you decide which users you want to do what within your instance of CCM. That could be, as great as the CCM admin, where I've pretty much got everything. The only thing I can't currently do is delete the outdated software report, which is probably a good thing, or delete or edit software from the software tab. But you can get really granular with this, and you can have users that can only run reports, or can only create new users, or can only run basic deployments, only run advanced deployments. I don't know why you want to do that, but you could do it. And the difference in the permissions between a basic deployment and an advanced deployment is the new deployment plan and the new privileged deployment plan, because it takes special permissions to run an advanced deployment. So through the roles, that's how you control what your users can do. Your user interface, you can create a new user. Anything that you want to add for specific abilities, specific roles that you want to assign to, you can do it through this interface. The sensitive variables that I talked about earlier, you can set up any value that you want as a sensitive variable. Name it, drop the value in it. If you want to put usernames, passwords, whatever you need to pass that's sensitive, that you don't want shown in the output or logged, you can create it and put it here, and then just add it to your advanced deployment whenever you're ready. Audit logs will give you an opportunity to see what's going on within, who's making changes. You can see that I went into the sensitive variables controller, and it will show usernames, any user that you've got configured. You can put in a date range to see how far back it will go. You can refresh this as newer things are happening, and export it if you need to have a different record. The maintenance tab allows you to clear caches in the application on the page. The website logs will give you a look into, look at that. We'll give you a look into the CCM-website log. That you can also find that within the environment itself at C tools. C tools, Chocolatey management-web app data logs. It's a little different than the rest of the logs that we ask for, but so we can see here that there was an error was thrown at some point. This is a test instance, so it's it gets set up, it gets trashed. I have quite a few test instances that will never ever work again for what they're designed to do, because I tend to break a lot of stuff. So that's the maintenance tab. The settings tab. This is where you can kind of get deep into what you want your specific instance of Chocolatey Central Management to look like or do. I'm in the Eastern US, so I set my time zone here. On the dashboard tab, you can set the amount of time in days before you are notified of stale computers, which is that block here. You can also set that whether or not you want that retention on at all through the settings tab, and we'll get to that at the end of this run. Website root address you can set here. It's used for building links to the website. Your user management, you can set this. We do have an LDAP configuration that you can use. Security is the password complexity for logging into CCM. You can enable a user logout. The encryption settings, when you start a new instance of Chocolatey Central Management, this will pop up and say, hey, you need to set this, so that there's specific data inside the database that will be, and in web requests that'll be encrypted. You can set this to whatever you want. I think it has to be at least 8 characters and then follow the standard password, capital, lowercase, special character, number. But you can set it to pretty much just anything. So that's security. We do have email SMTP settings for, you'll need this if you decide that you want to go the LDAP route. You can also set this up for notifying users when they have been invited to log in to Chocolatey Central Management. And you can also get deployment notifications for if a deployment has succeeded or failed. And the last tab on the settings block is retention policies. So one important note listed right here at the top is any changes here are going to require that the web application be restarted. You can do that with an IIS reset, or actually go into IIS and restart the website however you want. But the audit retention is audit logs that are kept in the database. For smaller instances, 30 days is usually okay. When we deploy a CCM or a Chocolatey for Business environment, we deploy it with SQL Server Express, which is a 10 gigabyte limit. You can use a full SQL instance. That's not a problem. For our purposes, SQL Server Express usually handles it just fine. Depending on the size of your organization, how many computers you have checking in, how often you have them checking in, the audit logs can fill up pretty easily or pretty quickly. So for larger organizations, we usually suggest to drop that to between 7 and 10 days and see how that works. So I've got stale computer retention enabled. So stale computers are, this is how long to keep them before they are deleted. So a stale computer is a computer that's not checked into Chocolatey Central Management in a while. And that can be for any reason. That could be because the user of that computer has gone on vacation and is not going to log in. That could be that because the computer has been refurbished and it's no longer in use. So you can set this in days to delete those computers from Chocolatey Central Management so that you don't really have to worry about it. And that will also help to manage your managed computer count for your licenses. One thing to note is that if a computer does drop off of Chocolatey Central Management, but it's still technically in use, when it does remake that connection to CCM, CCM will add it back. So you'll then get to see it again. You can schedule it for a deployment, upgrade any software, because depending on how long it's been out of commission, might need some updates. You can also retain deployment plans. You can enable them to decide, how long they get before they get moved to archived deployments, and then how long they are before they're deleted entirely. So that's the settings at a glance. Finally, last but not least, we do have an API that you can interact with directly if you like. Clicking on the API will load the Swagger doc that will list all of the endpoints. One goal we do have is to provide a PowerShell module for interacting with the API. Support team, we are building and testing one to expand on our skills, and that may lay the groundwork for the module we offer to customers. We may end up going in a different direction. That just remains to be seen. I can say it's been a lot of fun dealing with it, especially from somebody who comes. I come from more of a hardware deployment background in IT than a lot of PowerShell knowledge, a lot of coding. I haven't really done a lot of that before I joined Chocolatey as a support engineer. But it has definitely been a learning experience, and it's been a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of learned a lot, and it's been a wonderful experience being a part of this team, part of this company. But that is Chocolatey Central Management at a glance. I am interested to see why this deployment. So there we go. So it did succeed, and you can drill further in, check the success. You can see when it finished, and then you can view the log. You can see what actually gets run in the process, and then this upgraded at some point through that. Well, I mean, it tried to upgrade twice apparently, but let's just chalk that up to nerves and jitters on your co-host's part here. That's just my my demo skills. But that has been Chocolatey Central Management at a glance. A very sort of top level, back to basics look at everything. I would definitely suggest checking out the docs for anything. And if you are not a customer yet and you're interested in becoming one, or if you're just interested in questions about everything that I went over today, by all means, you can reach out. We have a bustling Discord community. We're active on Reddit. And if you are a customer and you haven't yet gotten it, maybe you're a pro customer, you haven't yet gotten into Chocolatey for Business, you can reach out through the usual support channels and contact us here. You'll get me first. I hope that's not an immediate put off, but as the support engineer that all the tickets come through first, I'll do my best to help you any way I can. And if I can't do it, there's somebody here that knows how. I promise you that.
Awesome.
I appreciate the time being able to go over CCM today. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been really fun.
We've actually had a couple of questions, Chris. One of them was about the logs. Actually, the question was actually I'd written it down. Where did I write it down? Yes, there it's there. Sorry. If one or more endpoints fails to install a package, does Chocolatey Central Management gather the logs for me? So you showed that there, that the logs can be seen in the deployment screen at the end.
Yes,
which is awesome.
Correct.
So that saves the sysadmin for actually going and, let's say it's 50 computers that potentially failed to install a package for whatever reason, going and logging into 50 computers and gathering the logs that way, or doing something else to kind of do it remotely. They can see all from Chocolatey Central Management. So that saves a lot of time.
Absolutely.
So we've got a couple other questions. I'll just start at the beginning. Can I get access to Chocolatey Central Management if I'm on a trial of Chocolatey for Business?
Absolutely. We do have a form on the website that you can fill out to contact us for a trial. The great thing about the trial is You can either choose to do an implementation with one of our support technicians, Ryan Richter. He's absolutely brilliant, knows everything that there is to know about Chocolatey. So you can either do an implementation with Ryan and sort of get the same demo that I went over here, but a little bit more in depth for the entire environment. Or you can reach out and say, hey, I'd like the license, but I'd like to try it out for myself. And we'll give you a license for 2 weeks. You can trial everything. The cool thing about the way we do it is you get everything that Chocolatey for Business has to offer. We don't piecemeal it as far as what you can do with a specific license. If you run a trial, you get the full product. You can do everything that you want with it, up to 100 machines. So it's absolutely. I mean, you got nothing to lose to try it out and see if it's something that can help you. And I'm very certain that it's going to be a great fit for just about everybody.
So you also answered one of the other questions there as well. What sort of support can I get? Can I get help? Can I get you to help me get Chocolatey Central Management installed and my clients checking in?
Absolutely. So with a trial, that 2-week trial, you get full access to Chocolatey support. So if you run into any issues, if you have any questions, if there's anything at all that you need, please feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to help any way we can. I also, anytime that I have an ability to pat myself on the back or brag about this, I'm going to do it. So when you put in a ticket to Chocolatey support, we have an average response time of about 6 to 7 minutes. So I don't know anybody else that will give you support like that, but I'm very, very proud to say that we take our jobs very seriously, and we want to make sure that if you have any questions, if you run into any issues, if you need any help, that we are there for you whenever you need us.
That was also going to be one of my questions. What is the current stats, Chris, for us? But you've answered that again. It's like you're, psychic. Let me see. I want to secure my login to Chocolatey Central Management. Can I use my company's certificate? So the kind of organizational certificate, SSL certificate.
Absolutely. You can. We have options when setting it up. At least when going through our quick start environment or our Azure environment, you can set it up with a self-signed cert if you're just going to do a POC, just to put a concept, just to kind of look at things. But you can also use a certificate that your internal CA has written, or you can use any third-party cert, as long as those certificates are in PFX format, and that when you import them, you make sure that the private key is marked as exportable. That's not so much for us. That's for the other aspects of the Chocolatey for Business environment, because we also include Chocolatey Central Management as a part. We include a repository solution for hosting packages, and we include a continuous integration, continuous development pipeline to help you maintain those packages as updates are gone, are brought out, are released.
You can use Chocolatey Central Management away from that and use your own repository solution and use your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The great thing about CCM is that you can install it just by itself. That was actually one of my personal goals this year, was to essentially build a Chocolatey for Business environment from the ground up and not use anything that we use in the quick start guide scripts, because what's really cool about the quick start guide is it's literally just a set of 7 scripts, that technically 6 scripts for the environment. The 7th script is to bring computers. You can just run that script and it'll bring computers into Chocolatey Central Management for you with all of the configurations that you need. But from a point of, I want to learn how to do this myself, I decided to attempt this, just building it from the ground up. and it's been a lot of fun. So far, I've got a viable CCM instance. I'm still I'm in the process of using ProGet as a repository solution in that instance, and I've really enjoyed it. I like it. It does operate, and I have taken a break from that to try and build a ProGet package for Chocolatey, just to kind of because we currently don't have one on the Chocolatey community repository.
Awesome. Last question. What sort of PowerShell can I run in an advanced deployment? Is it kind of limited, or is it a free for all?
It's pretty much a free for all. Any kind of configurations that you want to set up, whether they are Chocolatey configurations or any PowerShell that you can run from an administrative PowerShell session, you can run in an advanced deployment. The interesting thing there is one of the reasons that we have those tips, especially the error action preference stop, is to make sure that if for any reason anything goes sideways, Chocolatey will just kind of close everything down and say, okay, we've encountered an error. Let's not go any further, just in case. So we do offer a bit of shielding there, because we are on your side when it comes to that kind of thing. And I have broken more environments than I care to admit, test environments, thankfully, than I care to admit, trying to run admin PowerShell before I've learned what's actually what to actually do and what not to do, which is just as important in my opinion.
So you can use Chocolatey Central Management not just to manage Chocolatey packages. You can use it as well to run PowerShell on remote machines to perhaps configure them. To you could add environment variables, copying. Maybe, you could copy files over. No, you would do that in a package itself. But you can run that PowerShell there, so you can manage Chocolatey packages. You can also manage the machines themselves with PowerShell as well. So it ticks both of those boxes. Okay,
set registry keys if you need to, whatever.
That's the one that I was trying to think of. Set registry keys, yeah. So that's the questions that we had in chat that we've answered there. Anything else, Chris, that you think maybe we should have covered and we didn't?
The only other thing that I did not cover on the dashboard is you can swap between light and dark mode, and that's a big thing here, I will say. But I never do anything in light mode, so it didn't even register on me to say that. But I think we did a pretty good back to basics coverage of what CCM has to offer. I hope that the demo was not too horrible. I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun writing it. I'm very, very happy that I got an opportunity to be a part of this stream. And I look forward to being a part of more streams in the future, especially if you want to include me on any of the ones where you rant about being an old guy dealing with computers, because I will 100% join in on that.
I don't know if I need any competition, Chris. It's yeah, no, thank you. I think the demo was good, and I think it's important to kind of point out, this is a back to basics, so we're covering the basics of Chocolatey Central Management. A lot of the streams that we do were more technical, they're more involved, they're more in depth, but the back to basics series is about covering the basics, as you'd imagine from the title, about how we do things, how things work, a kind of really a kind of more basic level, getting the fundamentals sort of ticked, those boxes ticked, and making sure people have that groundwork laid down for them to be able to progress to the more advanced topics and the more advanced functionality within the products. So if you're watching today and you're thinking, oh, central management, that was quite basic, well, that was the purpose of the stream today. We have many other videos on our YouTube channel where you can dive into the more technical aspects of Chocolatey Central Management. And we have blog posts. We've got the documentation that Chris mentioned. I'll just pop that. Actually, where is the documentation one? I'll pop that back on the screen again so that everybody can go there, and you can find out more documentation and more technical and more in-depth documentation for Chocolatey Central Management on there as well, where you'll be able to get, build upon the fundamentals that we've laid today for you. So we've come to the end of the stream today. So what I want to say is thanks to Chris, first of all, for taking us through the demo. I hope it's clear to you how Chocolatey Central Management can help manage your endpoints in a secure and controlled way. The kind of real purpose behind Chocolatey products in general, not just Central Management, is to allow you to spend less time managing your endpoints and get back to the things that you want to do, the more important things for perhaps your organization, or the things that make you tick a little bit, or maybe it's getting involved in more PowerShell, which you can then deploy with Central Management. But it's about making things simple for you guys and making things easier for you and your organization. I mentioned at the start as well, we have a survey, and I'm going to pop that onto the screen. We have a survey that takes literally 10 seconds to complete. There's 3 questions. One of them's mandatory, and it's basically to rate the stream. The other 2 are optional, and it's to give us information that we can use going forward in to understand what you would like to see. So you can also find the link in the description as well. And you could be notified of all of the content that we produce at Chocolatey by joining our community hub on Discord, or you can subscribe to us on YouTube and click on the notification bell. And when there's new content where we're streaming, etc., you'll get a notification about that happening. You can also follow us on Twitter or X, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitch as well. And you can find all those links at the bottom of our homepage, chocolatey.org. Scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll find the links at the bottom, or in the description of where you found this video. Our next live stream is the one where Chris said that I rant a lot, and he's kind of right. I'll keep the ranting down a little bit, but that's unpacking software. And the next one of those is on the 15th of August at 4 p.m. UTC. So please join us for that, for chat and opinion, all things software and software management. We also make that particular stream available as a podcast as well. So you can download it with your podcast manager of choice and be able to listen to it at your leisure. So we hope to see you there, 15th of August at 4 p.m. UTC. Thank you for your time today. Thanks to Chris as well. Take care. Bye bye.